violated a big part of the agreement we made. You know, if you read that whole statement, I was very nice to them. I helped them because they were in trouble with the stoppage of a massive amount of business. But I'm sure that I'll speak to President Xi and hopefully we'll work that out. But yeah, it's a violation of the agreement.
The Chinese Commerce Ministry has hit back on those claims from President Trump, now accusing the U.S. of violating their trade agreement. The ministry wrote that it resolutely rejects the U.S.'s accusations, saying, quote, if the U.S. insists on its own way and continues to damage China's interests, China will continue to take resolute and forceful measures to safeguard its legitimate rights and interests. Back with us is Bloomberg's Brendan Murray. Brendan, it was only 3 weeks ago that we had an agreement coming out of Geneva. What's changed?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like we're very close to the two leaders getting together at all, despite what we hear from the White House, that something like a phone call between Presidents Trump and Xi is imminent, with something that's happened within days. We heard from China, the Commerce Ministry today, saying that this is an unacceptable approach to dealing with us, and this agreement, this 90-day extension into mid-August is something that they need to get to the table to start talking, and they're far from that, it would appear. So it seems that there are a number of issues that China has, ranging from the crackdown on student visas to some barriers to Chinese tech exports that Washington is doing, and the U.S. is saying China isn't upholding its end of the deal too. So it looks like things are going in reverse rather than forward at the moment.
Brendan, there's also been some reporting, both from our team and from the Journal, that some of this has to do with slow walking of approval of rare earth metals. How much of this is about right-sizing supply chains for the U.S. and making sure that we don't have COVID-style issues in terms of supply chains breaking down for critical industries?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something that the U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer mentioned last week, that these are items that American businesses need to build everything from electric vehicles to high-tech medical products, and these are things that China controls largely the supply of. And this was part of the agreement that they reached in Geneva 3 weeks ago, that China isn't living up to its end of the bargain, and China is saying, well, you're not living up to your end of the bargain either. So it sounds like we're basically at loggerheads again. Again, we have a couple of months before the deadline. But these are complicated talks, and once they get underway, and they can't even really agree on the tone of the talks or what specifically they could discuss. So it seems that this is going to drag on for weeks, if not months.